Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to be doing another book review, and it is for A Net for Small Fishes by Lucy Jago. So let's talk about it. So A Net for Small Fishes, what is this book about? This is a book set in the 1600s during King James I's reign, so right after the end of the Tudor period, we've headed into the Stuart period. Now, there's a lot of tumult in this time. There's religious, political, there always is, but it was a time of a lot of unhappiness in that way. So this book, it isn't a retelling of The Prince and the Pauper, but if you kind of think about that a little bit, it puts it in the right perspective. So we follow two women. Our main protagonist, her name is Anne, and she befriends a woman named Frankie, and that happens like immediately in the novel. Basically, Anne is the wife of a well-known physician. They're not like high in court or anything like that. He serves people in court. His customers are people in court. But what Anne wants is to be in court and have that financial security and stability and just to live that lifestyle. That's what she really, really wants. Frankie is in court and she's very high up in it. And you kind of see the differences in their lives, them seeing the differences between their two lives. As well as that, Frankie's miserable. She's absolutely miserable in her life. So they get this bond, and as an audience, as the readers, we see the choices that they make to alter and change the paths that their lives take, and the reasons that they do it, and the the ways they go about it, which are just a lot. I really, really love this book. The first half I was pretty slow with. I don't think that was the book. I think that was just me personally. It felt very fast-paced. It felt like I was always gripped. And the second half, I flew through. The second half. I needed to know what was going on. It was so insanely gripping. It really was. I would say personally, I feel like there was two twists. The second one isn't necessarily a twist, but I was living in a state of denial, so it was a twist for me. The first twist I did not see coming, and not that what happened was surprising. Had anybody told me, here, this is going to happen, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense. I could have probably, if I thought about it, called it myself. But it was the timing of it. It was the timing of it and when and how that it came about that I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. It's dark, it's atmospheric, it's so beautifully written. I love books that really set up your surroundings. You know, for me, that's why I love books like set in Victorian London and everything, and you get the details about like the horse's hooves hitting off the cobblestones, and like I can hear that nearly, right? So Lucy did capture that essence. She really put the atmosphere in there. You knew who all the people were, what they were like, what their surroundings were like, what the smells were around them. It was amazing how she pieced this world together. And this is the first time I've read a book set in the 1600s, so I was really interested in it. I do really recommend this book. If you love historical fiction, I'm confident you'll really love this. If you're thinking of getting into historical fiction, but a lot of historical fiction books can be drier or can be slow reads or slow burns, this isn't one of them. So if you want, a book that's just going to have you on the edge of your seat, definitely at multiple points, and angry, and really feeling the emotions with and for the characters, yeah, this is the one. What I couldn't believe was this book is based on a true story. I had no idea. I'm not going to say which true story it's about, because if anybody knows about that true story, big spoiler. Big spoiler. So don't look it up. But it's based on a true story. And I learned that when I had only like 70 pages left to the book. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. But the author has a note at the end of the book, and I don't always read the author's notes or acknowledgements or all of that. I would, if there's like a historical note or something, I would read them. But she did this note and basically said like all the names more or less are completely accurate. And what happened, but she obviously, and that's where her job came in, is having to create the story and maybe what these characters were like. And especially at this particular time in history, women were seen as being too independent from their husbands and going into taverns and bars and, oh my goodness, the scandal. But really being far too independent. So she took these two ladies, went into their lives and saw what their motives might have been and the things that they chose to do and the ways that they wanted to turn their lives around. The thing is, like, they made some choices, and I don't know if any of us can honestly say we wouldn't have done the exact same things, which when you read it sounds very drastic. Very drastic. Like, they don't do anything by half measure. But we can't honestly say that we wouldn't have made the same decisions because we're not them. We aren't living their lives. We're very lucky to not be living their lives. Like, some of the things I'm just thinking about now that happened, I'm like, oh, like, just making my blood boil for them. Making my blood boil. And then I enjoyed how it was wrapped up. Like, I do like books really tying everything together pretty nicely. Like, I do like a neat bow at the end, and with the style of this story I was like, oh, it's just gonna leave it off and you're gonna have to just imagine what happened. But no, she put it all together pretty well in the end. I do like how she wrapped it up. You know, could we have known more about other characters in that and like what happened to them and all these things? Yeah, possibly, but I do like how she did it. It was a very, like, it was not an ending, like, not a take on it I was expecting at all. Because I think that's technically I think it's an epilogue. But I do like how she did it. It's really hard to talk about it without spoilers, but hopefully I did a good job. I just want to, like, scream about this book. It's definitely a new favorite. I gave it 5 stars. I was petrified it would give me a book hangover, so I very quickly jumped into my next read because I did not want to get into a book hangover, but it really could have done it for me. It had everything that I loved. It had romance, it had rage, it had atmosphere, it had like heartbreak, it had worry. Like, Anne is a mother of multiple children. I think off the top of my head, 5 or 6 children maybe. And she loves them with her whole heart and soul. They are her motive behind everything. She loves them so dearly. And Frankie essentially becomes this sister to her. And it's just, it's beautiful, it's heartbreaking, it's rage-inducing, it's interesting, atmospheric, gripping, and I can't recommend it enough. Like I said, I gave it 5 stars, and I hope you pick it up. And it's gorgeous as well. Like, the sprayed edges, the end papers, and then the white naked cover with the black lettering. Like, they did it all, and it was amazing. So, yeah. Now, if you want to like, comment, and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. That would mean a lot to me. And I've left my socials in the description below. If you want to come chat with me on Instagram, that'd be a lot of fun. But I hope to see you in my next video, and until then, stay safe and take care. Bye!